start each episode with a quote that kind of resembles what we're going to be talking about.
Okay.
Um, and the quote that I have for you was, "In order for your life to change, you must change."
Ah.
You had a similar quote, and I got that from Jim Rome. And
Mm-hmm.
me personally, like I commend the change that I see in you. Like I'm inspired by it. Like, you know how we talk, bro,
Right,
but
right.
like what I know you when we met from, from when we met to now, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm inspired by your change. So
Uh, yeah.
talking or whatever, we really just want to dive into that a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and also talk about what you got going on and Mended and everything like that, because I feel like that's important for our culture right now, and just the movement going forward with checking on our mental health,
Yeah,
consistently. And
that's big.
yeah, that's
It's
something that you
huge.
helped me with.
And I think that's the biggest thing. Like boiled down, like our mental peace, man, is just something that we don't take a lot of credit for. We don't pay a lot of attention to until it's bad. You know what I mean? Um, we'll get into it for sure. But I was at a point in my life too when I left New York. New York was everything I knew. People don't understand this part of my story that I was homeless. When I took a job at FAU, I didn't know how much I was getting paid. I didn't know where I was gonna stay. So I packed everything up in my Impala. And I was like, I'm gonna make it what it is. And I can't even say I leaned on my faith at that point in time because I didn't know my faith at that time. I just was like, this opportunity, I'm going. I slept in the office. I slept on, a rat couch. Who he didn't really want me there until I really got on my feet. So it's all about the process. But when I was there, bro, I suffered from, I had anxiety, I had depression, and I had never dealt with those things before. Like I
Right.
went to the hospital, I went to like the urgent care because I felt like my heart was beating so fast. Like you could feel it, you know what I mean? Like you see it in your eyes, like you like I can't catch my breath and all that. So they giving me drugs, and I don't take no pills or nothing like that, But it was a rough time, But it was all a part of the process. That's one of the things that we have to understand as part of the process.
First, let's introduce this man, this great man right here. Um, Ed and I know him as Moose. Um, but to the world, he's Pastor Stephen Gage. Everybody
Sure.
clap for Stephen Gage. Steph. All right, this is a great man of God, a great man of faith. He's been my spiritual coach, my spiritual mentor, marriage mentor, husband, whatever you want to call it. This dude came in my life at a great point,
Mhm.
where I definitely needed him. Um, I'm not going to talk about everything that he's doing. I'm gonna let him say that himself.
Right, right.
But Pastor Gage, take the floor, man. Tell us what you've been up to.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. First of all, thank y'all, man, for having me. My boys right here. Y'all
Yeah.
remember, what was it Parking Systems running big.
uh,
Oh,
Get those cars.
tell everybody about that a little bit, Boots.
oh man, please. Oh boy.
Oh man.
But yeah, it's an honor, it's a privilege, man, and I love what y'all stand for. Little did y'all know, like, when we interacted, when we grew up, when we was in college, like you guys were one of the people that I looked to, like because I felt like y'all had it together, y'all had it together. So like I said, like I'm honored and I'm privileged to be able to speak to with y'all, and just encourage whoever it may be.
Right.
But like Dom said, I'm a pastor. Right now we're in the middle of launching our own church. But more importantly, man, I'm a servant. I'm a lifelong learner. One thing about me is just that I just love to learn. And I love to encourage one another. I love to, see people come in one way and leave another way. And I believe that's the whole concept behind this Mended movement. I did a conference and Dom was there about Mended. We all are broken at some point. We all are broken, but that doesn't stop us. We can keep going forward. In order to be, mended, you got to be broken. Just putting the pieces back together and allowing something not no substance, but something God or whoever or your own abilities to be your glue. You know, so that's where we are. I'm a husband. I love my wife. I love her like no other.
You got to drop that before
Make sure. Make sure they know.
I don't know if you're in the doghouse right now. I don't know, but that was like, all right, I can't forget. She gonna get back. I love my wife. I'm gonna say it too. I love my wife.
Come on. And I think that's the biggest thing, you know,
Right.
we set priority, man. And as men, you know, we don't take enough pride in the woman that we have. But oftentimes, you know, we can easily overlook our significant others, you know. So I always tell myself whenever I go speak, wherever I go speak, you know, give honor to my wife because she's probably doing something behind the scenes to make it possible. So she got the kids right now. I'm going to pick up Nala. But yeah, I'm a father of three. We are a blended family as well. So we just got a lot that we just love to do.
Talk about that, man. You said blended family, bro. Talk about that.
I mean, when my wife and we met in 2013, and she had a daughter, Nala, which is our oldest. You know, first things first, I don't consider her to be a stepdaughter. That is my daughter. I had early on, I had a person tell me that you're not a step to anyone, you know, so you step up, rise to the plate, you know, but Nala is beautiful. She is a kind soul. And honestly, we talk about transition, talking about growing up, you know, I was forced to grow up fast because my wife wasn't playing. When I met her, it was no play, it was no games because she had a child. And one of the things that I admired most, we blend in families, you know, it has its own challenges or whatnot. But when I first met my wife, one thing I knew that really stuck out was that she did not allow me to meet her, Nala, which is our daughter, until like a month or so down the road. You know, so it wasn't going to be like, no, here, play, and you know, playing house, playing daddy. So I really admire that, you know, but I just believe we have our own challenges as blended families, but the biggest thing is just being yourself. I always tell people this, and part of blended families is that you have to develop your relationship with that stepchild outside of the relationship with the mother or mother or a father. You know, because that particular relationship, you can't use to get close to the child just to get close to the parent. You know, it's going to fail. You know what I mean? So that's my biggest thing. We're in a process. We rewrote a blended book, you know, from brokenness to oneness, you know, just coming together. My wife and I, it's an interesting book because we give two perspectives on, you know, her point of view, my point of view, and how we blended it all together. You know,
right. Man,
that's lit.
Look, man, I definitely need to read it because, you know, I had my experience with a blended family. You know, my wife had two before I married her. I didn't let that stop me, and that's one thing I did struggle with was calling, you know, the kids stepson and stepdaughter, because I kind of didn't want to step on the real father's toes. You know, my dad came. You know, my dad was. I'm the only child that my dad had with my mom.
Okay.
My other brother and sister had different fathers, and you know that was kind of my dad's approach to everything as well. So now I'm sitting here listening to you like, yo, I'm married to this woman. My dad wasn't married to my mom, so I'm going to be in these kids' lives for a very long time. So I think it's important with me having kids now, and then with them already implemented into the family, it's important that they all call me the same thing because I can't have them call me one thing and then my other two kids, my personal, you know, kids calling me
Right.
something else. So, you know, Ed, you had something to say?
I mean, I'm really taking it in. Just listening to y'all too, giving me pointers for when my term comes around. But I definitely agree with that sentiment. People in my family have had blended families. Got a couple of them in my bloodline, and that's the way they've taken it. So that's the way I've been taught. Of course, I'm out here courting, talking to somebody right now. She doesn't have kids, but you know, if I do somehow in my future do come up against that, that's the same way I'm gonna take it.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think it's just a maturation process with anything, you know, because like to be quite honest, if I'm being completely serious, when I first started talking to my wife, it was like, oh, I thought it was going to be like every other, talk to, like, oh, here and there. But, quickly I knew that what it meant for a woman to have standards and not stoop their standards just because you come in talking hot cash. You know what I mean? So that was it.
Right.
A game, and then it all
She hitting you again. You
like I got it together.
She read through all that.
Slow your roll for sure, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, so we talked, in the beginning. I called you Pastor Gage. So talk to us about that, man. How did you go from you also hold up, we gotta rewind because you talk about us parking. We did valet at all three of us and a couple other people. We did valet service in college when we was in New York in the city.
What was it on Ocean Parkway? What was it?
Yeah.
Ocean Parkway was one of them. We did draft party. We did a couple jumps.
So I got a story, man. Pastor Gage, forgive me. This was old. I don't know if it was Pastor Gage or somebody else. When we was on the train, it was probably like 3:00 in the morning. We was on our way back to school.
Lord, he's trying to go on.
He was wild and he was acting crazy, yo. So Pastor Gage, at this time, your name was Moose.
Right.
Moose like, I'm gonna slap this dude, yo. So it come to our stop. I forgot he said he was gonna slap this dude. Dude kind of like was slick, man. Moose, not Pastor Gage. Moose slapped the piss out of this dude. And I don't know why we was running, because he didn't get off the train, but we all running, yo. Full speed sprint. I'm talking with the slacks on, high knees. I'm like, yo,
wasn't even getting chased though.
Wasn't getting chased. That was probably one of the funniest days at the WAG, man.
Yeah. Man.
Hey, brother, they probably thinking of the Moose they see right now. They not thinking of the Moose that's hitting the beach workouts, that's captain of the defense. Second, man, what? Dog, that Moose slapping somebody, bruh.
I want to say somebody, I don't know who.
Probably French.
It was French, right?
It was definitely probably French. If it was French, if it wasn't French, it was Fox. One of them two.
I think they scraped up like an expensive car. Yeah.
French.
and
put dirt on the side.
No.
Scraped up the whole side of the car.
Because French was playing, he was like, and that thing was like, because we in a tight New York City garage. Right. He called us all to the garage, like, yo, just come here real quick. And I was like, oh. But we had remember that clause, if they drive off, then you good. You good.
Right.
Put a little dirt on it, they ain't even see it. He stood in front of it. You open the door and you stand like,
yeah.
He macked that thing up though.
Rambo, man.
That was some fun moments, man. Yeah, nobody will ever believe we was valeting in college,
bro. That's a boy.
We used to be hustling too. You'll get that car 3 blocks away. Give us 30 cents. Like, time out.
Low key was an extra workout, man, because we all had workouts that morning. So that wasn't nothing.
Man, so that's a tremendous transition, man. You playing football, you partying and doing your thing. You're a typical athlete, young athlete in college, man. And
right.
It was different. You know what I'm saying? It was different. So how do you go from smacking somebody on a train to Pastor Gage, man? Like, and it's real. It's not fake. You know what I'm saying?
Nah.
That's the one thing I love about Moose is real. That was one of the first things I said to him. I was like, man, I admire what you have going on because it's real. It's not fake. So tell us about that transition, man.
I think one of the things is that the transition was definitely, I mean, for someone outside looking in, looked like it happened overnight. Right. But it was a point where when I came down to Florida, and my wife actually introduced me to the Lord. I was, coaching at FAU, and I was just like, like I said, I was dealing with some heavy stuff. Like I was having anxiety attacks. I never knew what they were. I was battling depression. Waking up at what 5 a.m., going into the office when it's dark, and coming out at midnight to do it all over again 7 days a week was playing with my mental. Was killing me. And I didn't even care for the people I worked with. I seen some things on the job there that I was like, yeah, I'm good on college coaching. But
right.
within that time, I think that God, he has a way of ordering our steps. He puts us into interaction with people, and he has a way of using like just your path of blessing. Sometimes we forsake our path, or we want to get off the path that he has us on because it's a little challenging. And the way I grew up, man, I had no quit in me. I know, like, y'all, we played together. Y'all know that I don't quit. I don't care how big you is, how small you is. I can't quit. And that was birthed in me from a young age. Not having my mom around because she was heavily addicted to drugs. I just knew I had to get out of Syracuse. I knew I had to fight to get out of Syracuse, and that's what I did. So when I came down to Florida, of course it was hard, but I knew one thing for sure was that I wasn't going back to Syracuse. So just when I was led to Christ, everything seemed to make sense at that point. I knew I loved to encourage people. I knew I loved to build people up, and that was all the things I was able to do. So I gave my life to Christ. I think it was like October 2013, and since that day, man, it was just like, I had my struggles. Don't get me wrong. Like I was, I smoked weed, I drank, I was promiscuous, all of those things. And I can say to you right now that since 2013, I have not drank, I have not smoked, I have not what?
Man, applause for that.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, and that was
It's January 13th, 2021. I have not drank. I have not smoked.
Yeah, and you think where we've been, like in the dorms where there ain't much to do. So what do? We pour it up.
All the above.
Exactly. So it was like I just knew I needed to make a change. And like the quote that you said, and one of the quotes that I live by is like, things change when things change. Just think about that. So I was a firm believer in that, and I knew, like, I was all in. I was desperate. And I think that's where change can happen, when we become desperate. I was desperate for a change. I did not want to go back to Syria. I didn't want to be another statistic, but I really wanted change. I was hungry. I was hungry, and it was just the transition from that, from like the playing into the pastoralship was hard, but I knew I knew what I was doing, or per se, or I knew where I was going, because the second that clock hit 0 when we ended our season, my senior year at Sacred Heart, my cleats was off. I was done. I knew I wasn't gonna train. I wasn't gonna try. I knew right then and there I had 0 left in the tank. Right. I needed to turn the page.
So
that's it.
Yeah, what you go ahead.
Yeah, I was about to say that's a very interesting question, because like, how did you feel? Like you kind of started it, but like that's very interesting you say that, because that's one thing I would ask you, and I got to follow up to that. But like how'd you feel when you noticed it was over? Like, how did that feel?
So when going into the game, just take you through. I had ligament damage in both my ankles. Like, people don't know this. Both of my ankles were taped up heavily, and I was taking shots before the game to just get through the game my senior year. And I was like, listen, this is gonna be my last game, and I knew I did, because I left everything literally on the field. I left everything. I sacrificed summers. I sacrificed, my body, just everything that I wanted to accomplish. I accomplished them, so it was nothing left for me to prove. I didn't have to prove anything to myself, prove anything to my parents, or anything like that. I just knew, like, I was done. I was good,
So for some people, it's a struggle to move on. Like for myself, I love to speak off of experience, so that I know that somebody feels it, right? So for some people, it's hard to move on. I just posted something today, realizing like, yo, this time back in 2016, I had about 5 or 6 teams wanted me to come play for them. And I had a choice to take the money and the chance of going to a brand new organization or
Right.
stay with the team that I've been with for 2 years on, on the practice squad. They know me. They saw my progression and they appreciate, how I played the game.
Mhm.
And I decided to leave that organization for money. And then, that the organization that I went to the money, they just threw me away. Like as soon as I got injured, they just threw me away like I was,
Yeah.
you know,
Miss me.
a freaking dish rag.
Right, right.
All right.
So, um, what was the most difficult part, if it was difficult at all, about moving on? You know what I'm saying? Like, was there anything that you held on to while you was still, while you was transitioning out of the game?
It was just my identity. For so long
Mm.
I was loose the
Mm.
football player. You know,
Unpack that. Um,
Mm, please, Jesus,
you
let
gotta.
us know.
That's yo, man. That's crazy.
yeah,
That's
Yeah.
that's crazy. You gotta. Some people might not understand exactly what you mean by that because when they say identity, you thinking like, okay, who I really am or something.
no,
You know what
like
I'm saying?
that's what we bled. That was our mindset. That was
Mm.
everything that we did was to better ourselves on the field. Like
Right.
people really don't understand. Like I don't care if you competed at a high level or a low level, but when you tapped into something that you know that you were good at, that you were born to do,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard. My identity was so wrapped up in the football. Like I I thought like a football player. I was eating like a football player, even when I wasn't playing. I was training still like a football player. I'm like, why am I working out so hard? And even the way I had relationships, I was doing it as a football player.
Right.
Every
Mm-hmm.
single thing, so trying to take take Stefan out of moves, if you per se, like I've been
Mm-hmm.
playing football since I was 4 years old, nonstop. There was never an off season. You know, that was all I knew.
Never.
You know, so it that was
Yeah.
that's still like I played football like was it 2 weeks ago last week for the first time since I hung up the cleats.
We saw that. You
Yeah,
Did you stretch? How are you feeling
stretched
right
for
now?
a couple of days beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
But people always ask me like, how come I don't get back on the field and like play? And I was like, what? I have zero desire to play the game of football. I can coach, but I
that's
have zero desire.
that's when you know, man.
That's when you
Yeah,
know.
man. Coaching is definitely a rewarding way to get back to it. Like you said, you don't have to get out there, but you can. It's a good way to give back at the same time. You know what I mean? Some of the stuff that we may not have been told at their age, you can go ahead and give it to them. You can only take the horse to the water, but the
Yeah,
way I see it, at least I get to reach back. Give them some pointers. Like I had to tell some cats yesterday. I'm like, I mean, you don't have to stretch. I didn't stretch either, but I'm sitting here with you.
right, right.
Take your pick.
And
Mhm.
that's the biggest thing is like just learning from our experiences. And I think one of the things that I talk about identity because it's so huge, especially as men, our identity is so much in what we do rather than what we carry.
Mm-hmm.
We do like, oh, I'm a good musician, so that's my identity. But we carry so much more. One of the things I like about both of y'all, and I share this too. I'm blue in the face, but when y'all walk in a room, y'all carrying more than just a football player. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's the mindset, it's the mentality, it's the spirit that you walk in. And I believe that once we start to identify that as men, as black men, that we have power outside
Mm-hmm.
of hitting somebody, outside of catching a ball, then
Right.
we would start changing the world around us. That's simply it.
Man.
At what point did you notice that power outside of the football field? Like, at what point did you notice that you had worth more than football?
Growing up, I wasn't the oldest, but like I said, when my mom was absent, I used to you know we used to go over her house and she used to be gone for a few days. I used to
Mm-hmm.
step up and cook for my brothers, or my oldest brother is handicapped, so I used to be changing diapers, and he's older than me,
Mm-hmm.
so like that's power. That's something that you're not taught. That's not something that you read in a manual or you read in the playbook or something like that. That's power,
Right.
and I
Right.
just knew that I knew that that's what I walked in, and I started to see like the understanding like y'all been there, like people just gravitate towards you. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why. I always think like I always tell myself like, dang, I'm pretty corny, but people want to talk to me, want to be around me, and I never understood why, but they're attracted to what you carry.
Right.
That's fact.
Simple.
Right.
Facts.
So, with football and, what you being in ministry right now, um, I kind of try to do anything that I'm doing aside from football, because football has been a part of my life, my entire life. So say like if I'm going into a speech, I'm going to speak at a school or something. I kind of take some of what I did in football with me when I'm going to say my speech. So I was wondering, I think I saw it before when I was at the Mendon conference. I think you saw a little bit moose, but do you have like any rituals, or do you take anything that you did in football and kind of incorporate it in your approach to ministry?
Yeah, and that's full speed ahead.
What,
You
Mm,
know,
what are
y'all
some
know
things?
anything, and I probably hit
mm,
you a few times just running full speed.
Right.
And one of the things about me is just that like I try everything, except for no drugs. I just I was always the smaller person.
Right.
I was always a smaller person, so I have this sense of no fear. You know, I'm gonna hurt you, you're not gonna hurt me. And, so when I go to speak, I get in that zone. First and foremost, when I was playing, people don't understand this, but when I was playing, I used to listen to all R&B music right before the game.
mm-hmm,
My heart was pumping so fast,
mm-hmm.
and I put my headphones in, and I had like Alicia Keys playing or something. The same goes like right before I go up, like if I'm delivering a message or whatnot. I like to just get in my zone, listen to some slow worship music or something like that.
Right.
But more importantly, I look inwardly and understand the value that I do carry. And as I'm walking in on the stage, I'm gonna give these people something. And it's like the first hit. We all know we got to get that first hit out of the way. You
Right.
know, either
Yeah.
you hit or you get hit. You know what I mean? So
It's one of the two.
yeah,
Talk to us a little bit about I don't want to get did you say the name of your church? I don't want to give
yeah,
it because I think the name is dope,
yeah.
especially with what you and your wife are doing right now. The way that you guys are serving, you're serving without any walls. Like you're serving and being faithful, without the building. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So when I heard No Walls Ministry, it was just like, man, that's kind of powerful and a
Mm-hmm.
testament to what you guys are doing. So I
Yeah.
just gave away the name. My bad.
It's all
So
good.
talk to us about that mission. Talk to us about the No Walls Ministry, man.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it, man. We just desire to be, we declare where the spirit of the Lord is, walls don't exist.
Right.
And within the, church, we see a lot of barriers. We have black churches, we have white churches, we have churches in the hood, in the ghetto, or we got churches that are affluent and they look a certain type of way.
Mhm.
So we identified what we said is that, we said where the spirit of the Lord is, walls do not exist. And those walls are man-made barriers, like your socioeconomic status, your race, your background. We tearing down those walls, and we believe that everyone is accepted. And this idea came from us, hit us one day because we had an idea. This was years ago that we were going to do a youth revival, youth stadium revival inside of a high school stadium. And this event planner came to us like, "What are you guys going to call it?" It was like No Walls. We ended up not having the stadium revival, but we did go to West Palm Beach when we were living in Orlando, and we held a revival, and we seen over 200, youth and young adults just come and get experience to Christ, man, and it was amazing. So that's just what we're about. We desire like our pillars is to live, to love, so love God, love ourselves, love our neighbor, to live. We're gonna live Christ out loud, to to serve, serve a community, serve each other, and last but not least, we're gonna share the gospel. So that's just who we stand for at No Walls. And listen, I just want to encourage everyone out there. Listen, I didn't go to ministry school. I didn't go. I don't. I actually grew up. If I'm being completely honest, my dad's side of the family was Jehovah's Witness.
Mhm.
So I think that's just encouraging. I'd like to encourage people on that because when we take the limits off of ourselves, we can accomplish anything, and we can start going further faster. Because we took the limits off. We're not holding ourselves back because we feel like we're lacking in this area, lacking in education wise. So I'm just encouraged by that, man.
Right, man. That's deep. That's deep because I
Yeah.
know. so many people strive to live a perfect life, and the model that we, most of us have, especially coming from where we're from, um, that model is a Christian, or the man that can live life without drinking, or what I mean, things like that. And for you to go from living like a rock star and then to being a genuine man of God is so powerful in itself, and a testament to change is possible. Man, all change is possible. Like, in order for your circumstances to change, like, we all want the big house, we all want the cars, we all want that lifestyle, family. The biggest thing that I've noticed with people is that they want the family, but they don't like the structure. They don't like what they have to put into the family. I know that was one of the hard things for me. Talk about the difficulties of that transition from being a single man, rock star, to being a full-on father and a husband.
Yeah, man. Right away, um, I was walking into a situation where I wasn't just going to be a boyfriend. I was walking into a situation where I had a little girl who was looking up to me.
Right.
But I always wanted, and I have a, like, my perspective on a lot of different things, and I'm sure y'all have the same perspective. It was like, even the good or the bad, we learn from them, and we able to learn and make it better for when we move forward. So I look at my family structure growing up, and it was what it was, and I use that as an example of how not to do certain things. Don't get me wrong, my dad did the best he can do, and he did an awesome job with raising us, but I knew right then and there, I told myself at an early age that I wanted to get married by 25. These are the things I was saying at a young age, 20. I wanted to be married by 25. I wanted to have three kids, two boys and a girl. I said I'm going to name my child Jeremiah Isaiah. This was early on, but and then I got married at 25, and this is the power of your own words, like how you put it in the atmosphere. And yeah, the transition has been one that we just need to learn how to say sorry, like.
That's real.
Or the biggest one for me, communicating when you're wrong. You know what I'm saying? And instead of being prideful and arguing the fact that no, I'm not wrong. It's just like, yo, okay, you're right. I shouldn't have said it that way, or shouldn't have done what I did. But I'm gonna tell you why I did what I did.
Yeah. But yeah, in the first year, we got married in 2015. The first year, man, marriage is a mirror. Like, you see the ugly in you, you see the nice in you, the good in you. But man, that first year, we had dumb arguments that led to me punching holes in the walls, me, storming out, leaving, like, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I ain't going nowhere. I'm not, I'm married. I said my vows. I mean this. This is a covenant, but the maturation process and just the communication, Dom, we talk about this all the time, just the communication, man, about for men, like, I don't know if you, growing up, I tell my wife this all the time, like, we just never talked about our emotions. We never hugged. We never, like, had any affection because our mom was out of the picture, and that's usually like the mom's job to soften you up, so it was actually funny that one of our discipline, or my dad used to discipline us, was make us all hug before we leave out the house. You think about that, like, that's really, but it was really something, so when I got into a marriage, I can spend like a week without touching my wife, without kissing her and stuff like that. And she over here like, yo, I'm dying emotionally because I just need you right now. And I'm like, I'm good, but we just had to learn one another, and the communication part, I can't reiterate it enough that communication, we have to learn how to communicate as men, and we have to communicate even when we know we're right. Even when we know we're right, man.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Still have to.
That's the hard part.
Not bring it down a little bit.
Right.
And because you made a commitment, and that was the hardest thing for me in the beginning. Like marriage, the relationship, the family structure just hit me like a tidal wave. Like, boom. Ow. Man, boy, you would have thought Kyrie was dribbling in front of me. I'm like, just fix that. Like, what?
Right.
Like I never knew that much went into a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Because my entire life was football. I didn't really care about anything but football. So, back to one of the questions that we had asked Moose. I kind of took what I did in football and put it in my relationship. Team first. You know what I'm saying? So what I got to do in order for us to win a championship? Because at the end of the day, we're trying to build an empire as a family. And we the coaches. You know what I'm saying? We the owners of the team, we the coaches, and we the players.
That's
So
right.
That's
we together. So we got to make sure our team is tight.
Yeah.
It took me some time to really realize that, and with the help of Pastor Gage here,
Yeah. I think Ed,
wife really opened my eyes to some things that I wasn't noticing.
and as a single man, Ed, or someone who's courting, I think the biggest thing too is, of course, the communication part. But understand that you're in it for the long haul. This ain't a play where like I'm gonna get mad. You said through it all. And I had I was a runner at first. I hated correction. I hated being told that I was wrong or doing something incorrect, because all my life, this is the part where you're still separating your identity. All my life, I was good. I was good. I was good at football, good at athletics, and then when I get into marriage, I'm like, what you mean you ain't like the way I clean that dish? I worked hard on that. It's just like, so that's just the open part about it. And like Dom said, carry those. There's some characteristics that you can carry the rest of your life. Like, when you want to know your opponent, what are you doing? You're watching film on them. So I begin to watch my wife. Like I used to watch how she just conduct herself, and I'd be like, all right, I can do that. I can do that a little easier. Oh, how she want that clean? Okay, I just see how she clean that. And it'll help you out, man.
Yeah. Okay. So since Ed's the single guy who's courting, what advice would you give him on finding the one? Or let's answer this question: is there such thing as the one?
I think, and my answer may vary from a lot of other people, and people may not like my answer. I believe that there is a one, but that one can be developed out of not the one. Because I never had. I'm gonna just be completely upfront with y'all. I didn't think that I would be married to someone with a child, beforehand. And vice versa. My wife
get you quick, boy.
My wife, she's older than I am. She never seen herself with someone younger than I am,
Right.
younger than her. So, but that's the process. But here's the thing: the one, Ed, or whoever is listening to this, the one will be the one who's willing to put in the work. Because we have to constantly put in the work to evolve, to educate ourselves, to grow. Because if not, the one that you fell in love with, you're gonna fall out of love with, because that person's stuck.
Right.
Don't blame.
Yeah.
No, that's real. I think because both of y'all said, like, even though I'm not in a relationship, that's also because I've chosen. There's a couple people along the way in which I could have put a ring on their finger and I didn't, but I knew I myself had some things I had to work on and I had to heal. And so I don't want to bring that to somebody else's life. But now that I am looking, I agree. I don't think that there's one person. I just believe that as long as two people of the same mindset try to achieve one goal, you win. I mean, we've all played football. We've all been on championship teams at some point. When you win the championship, it's, a lot of times it's not because you necessarily had the best players. You might have some of the best players, but a lot of time it's because your L's, that number 11 that should be somebody's not even on somebody's team, they bought into the program and they did what they were supposed to do, and then that's why you win.
Yeah. That's good. Absolutely.
That's one of the biggest things you just said is you needed to focus on yourself.
Yeah, man. I had to grow up. Y'all both know I had to grow up.
Know yourself before you get into it, because if
Yes.
you know yourself now, you're gonna learn in every marriage.
Whew.
Mirror.
That's legal. That's
Even
a
like
religious and a
you're gonna
legal
hide
bond.
the things he's gonna hide. Those things would poke his head up,
Mhm.
and it's gonna be ugly. It is gonna be ugly.
And it, you knowing yourself allows
Mm-hmm.
you to know what you want in a significant other and somebody, a life partner. That's what I look at it as.
Mm-hmm.
Once you learned yourself, you gonna know like, okay, well, I want this, this, and this in a woman. And she may not have it
Mm-hmm.
at that particular point in time, but she'll learn your love language.
Right.
Have to develop some of the things that you desire in a woman.
Yeah.
Nah, facts.
That's
That's
big,
facts.
Don. The love language, man, and I'm a firm believer to stand by it. That's the key.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Got to know the love language.
women gonna love this one now. They gonna love this episode.
Nah, they might not like this one because not all the love
Right.
languages are the ones they want to speak all the time. Yeah, man.
But be honest with yourself more than anything. If you're not ready, just don't do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's 1,000.
How much you love that woman, or how much she may, her or her family may give you an ultimatum. If you're not ready, don't do it. You know what I mean? And if
That's real.
you're in a relationship because you're not ready, then accept
Mm-hmm.
it. All right, but don't let no outside pressure you into getting married, because this is a real thing, bro. Like
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I've been that type of person my entire life where I'm like, yo, when I get married, marriage is serious, But when I got married, it was just like,
Yeah, a whole different ball.
what's going on in here? I don't think I want.
Man.
I ain't gonna lie to you. My first year, I was like, I don't think this is for me. I don't think it's for me.
I mean, everything. It was just like, yo, I don't like this. I don't like this. It's ain't comfortable. And like the crazy part is like, and we can be real candid about this. Was we talk about that that process. We talk about the process from 2013 to when I gave my life to Christ, to the transition to where I'm at right now. But when we got married in 2015, we abstained from sex. We didn't have sex, until marriage. And all while I was engaged and stuff, I was ready to tear some stuff up. You know what I mean? I was ready. I was ready. And then when I got married, bro, check this out. When I got married, I wasn't functioning, and I'm looking at myself like, hold on.
You don't use it.
Yourself pep talks like, yo, hello, what's going on here? But isn't that
Shut
just
up shop.
yeah? But it's just like with anything, like they want to dangle the prize out before you, like, oh, test drive this before you put a ring on it. And once you get into marriage, you're like the enemy is trying to mess with y'all, kind of cause division, especially intimacy wise, So I tell everybody that just to understand, like, man, this marriage is a battle. People don't want to see you married. They don't. So.
But y'all both seem happy in y'all marriages, though. I must say that, man. Like, to see the joy with you holding the baby, Dom, you already know I've been up there plenty of times with the little one, man. Like, y'all look like y'all wouldn't trade it in for the world. And that's what I be trying to tell, because you already know the single man, all I hear, hey, man, wait, take your time, wait. But I'm like, if you keep it a stack, man, at 30, that's kind of where you want to be. I mean, I'm not just doing it on anybody, so I'm taking my time, best believe me. But when I find the right person, I'm sure it's gonna be lovely.
This is an exercise that I did, right? I wrote down the top 10 qualities that I wanted in a woman. You know what I'm saying? Like the top 10. If she ain't have 8 of the 10, then we couldn't have a conversation further. You know what I mean? It was just like, okay, I know I wouldn't want to be with this type of person because they don't possess some of the qualities that I desire in a woman. And and when I met my wife, she knocked the list off. She knocked the list down, and then it was like it felt different. You know what I mean? Like I was sold on not being with somebody that had kids. I wanted to start fresh. I hadn't had kids yet, So I'm like, I'm waiting till I get married.
Right.
We're gonna build this beautiful family together. But I met her and she had two. I was like, do I just be a dog and bark up the tree and leave, or do I find out what this woman is really all about? You know what I mean? Because I was engaged prior to that, so now I was out soaring my royal oats.
Come on,
Billy D.
I lie to you not, and I showed my wife. I wrote everything down, and then I was listening to one of these sermons, and it was like, be honest. Even if when you write down what she looked like.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote down what she looked like, and God darn it, if she ain't look like it.
I believe it.
That's huge, man.
That's speaking words into reality, man. For real.
That's what it was. It was just the energy that I was putting out.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's real. Affirmations.
And I also like one of the thing I tell everybody was, of course we had good times when we were single, doing crazy things, but like on this side, there's nothing in the world that beats it. I went I just talk the transition again. When I went through that transition, I was drastic. I was desperate to make a change. I changed my phone number. I deleted email addresses. I got off social media for like 2 years. I wanted no contact with, back then, you know what I mean? So that desperation, and I was like, this on this side, I was so happy that I can leave my phone in a room with my wife and not care if she went through it or not.
Right.
Give me that a few years ago, and that thing would have been in the bathroom with me, would have been showering with me, it would have been all of the above, man. And it's all about your peace, man. People don't understand, like, that playing stuff, that player stuff is stressful. It's stressful. And I'm not one for the stress. I'll be quick to be like, you can see when I'm stressing. So
Right.
Yeah, man.
Ain't no hiding over here.
Yeah. Well, man, this was a dope, well needed conversation.
Big facts. Big facts.
I feel like so many people are going to be able to benefit from this, man. And man, Moose, thank you.
Thank you,
Everything, man.
Really, thank y'all, man. This is an honor, man. And what y'all doing, what y'all standing for, man, it's only just the beginning, man. So I just want to encourage y'all, like Dom, like I've been pushing you, man.
Yeah.
Keep going, man. Like,
I've been trying to make sure I strengthen my muscles, and muscles that I'm talking about. As men, I think we know that restraint, of staying away from, the public success, right? I know that I had some trouble. I was engaged when I was in the NFL, and my muscles weren't strong enough. I'm just being honest.
Right.
My muscles weren't strong enough, and then to I always tell people, if you want to really know if you're who you are, like, view some of the things that you've done from an outside perspective, right? So, like, picture you doing what you did in a movie, and you looking at yourself in the movie, you probably be like, "Man, you big dummy."
Right.
Right. Still at the screen at that person doing the exact same thing that we doing.
Right.
So I kind of had that moment where my ex was on a reality TV show, Find Ready to Love. Just like that moment where she was talking about, kind of what I did. And I'm like, yo, me and my wife watched this show, and now my ex-fiance is on it talking about me. And I'm just like, yo, this is embarrassing. It was embarrassing, but it's like, yo, you did it.
Right.
That mirror.
You know what I'm saying? It was a double mirror, because not only am I watching my ex-fiance talk about me and the negative things that I did, I'm looking here at my wife, and she like, did I make a mistake? In my mind, I'm thinking, did she think she made a mistake? Like,
yeah.
All right.
that was tough, man.
Yeah, man, that's the biggest thing, man, and just understanding, like, man, cut those ties, like, when we move forward, like, with whatever you're doing, like, if you say, like, I'm gonna start this business, you can't have, like, be all in, you know, and as men, we like to keep our options open for whatever reason, you know, we like to, and I that was one of my defense mechanisms for so long, because I hated being vulnerable to the point where giving one person all control to walk out of my life. You know, and that's what I built up from having my mom leave us at such a young age. It was like, I loved her. You know, if she can leave me at a drop of a hat, like, I'm not about to put all my trust in this one woman. You know, so I used to spread it around. Like, this woman will get part of me. So if this person drops off, I got all these other people who still holding me up. You know, so,
Man, that was a bomb right there.
Exactly, man. Wow. Ooh.
We're gonna end the podcast on that one right there, man.
you're right.
Luke, Pastor Gage, Moose,
Appreciate y'all.
man, whatever everybody call you, I call you Moose for life, man.
Right. Absolutely, man.
Yeah, you're gonna be Moose forever.
Thank you. Just before we leave, man, let everybody know where they can find your, your stuff. You drop your website, your IG, whatever.
Absolutely. Well, Instagram is just my name, Stephen Gage. Spell it with the E, not an A. Facebook, the same thing. But also, if y'all listen, you got a minute, check out our website, nowallsministry.net. And yeah, that's what it is. We launch in April 2021, and then a hard launch in September 2021.
Yeah.
Love you guys. And, like, listen, if y'all need me, let me know.
Yeah.
You already.
Down in Orlando, Florida, as you know, too, yo. No Walls Ministry. Be on the lookout.
So you go to Disney World, go holler at Jesus too while you at it, huh?
Let's go.
All right, bro.
All right, chill, boys.
All right.
All right.
That was a good one, bro.
That was a real good one.